Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Seed Forum Iceland. My name is Christian Christensen, and I'll be one of the people facilitating this event here today. Before we start, I wanted to start off with a short announcement. Many of you in here know me from a company called Innovate. 2 days ago, there was a decision made to merge the companies Innovate and Clark together, which we are happy to announce here. What that means is that a lot of the projects that have been going on by Innovate and Clark in Iceland will now be worked on together. These are projects, everything from Startup Reykjavik into the country's largest business plan competitions, startup weekends all over Iceland and more. We're looking very much forward to do a larger annunciation of what we will be doing in the next coming months and what this means for the whole community. Now, I'd like to use this opportunity in the room here and thank Eyþór Ívar Jónsson, the former CEO of Clark, and give him a big hand for all the other seed forums that he's been running and facilitating over the past years. Now, a little bit about the calendar here today. We have a number of fantastic keynote speakers flying in from all over the world. We have 8 teams doing presentations, 5 of them coming from Iceland, Reykjavik, most of them, and 3 from Norway, most from Oslo. So these pitches will take place in the second round of Seed Forum here, but in the first round we'll be listening to a number of these different keynotes. Now, just before we start, I'd like to present the main guy behind Seed Forum International. This person has personally conducted more than 250 investor conferences in more than 30 countries. Yesterday we had an all-day pitch training with the teams, and I would say that the pitches have changed quite a lot from the day when we first heard them yesterday until we got the final pitches through, some of them this morning. This person is born and raised in Oslo, Norway. On his 25th visit here to Reykjavik, Iceland, I pronounce to you the President, Chairman of Seed Forum International, Steinar Korsmo. Give him a good hand.
Thank you very much, Christian, and welcome to Seed Forum Reykjavik. It's good to be in Iceland, the center of the world, at least today, and to be also the most born global country in the world. That's Iceland. The first thing we do in Seed Forum is always to wish today the 8 forefront companies presenting this morning. We're of 5 companies from Iceland and 3 companies from Oslo with a 30-second power pitch. The first company presenting is Skema from Reykjavik. The next is Controlant from Reykjavik.
Controlant offers wireless automatic quality control solutions for asset tracking and the monitoring of periscope footage. We have an exceptional team. We have a proof of concept through 200 customers in 6 countries. We are in a fast-growing market niche, and we have a unique solution which is thoroughly IP protected. Thank you.
The next is Travel Merricks, traveling all the way from Oslo.
We are here today to present a truly global 1 billion user market potential. We are an award-winning executive team within mobile and social marketing intelligence. We have defined exit within 24 months. We are the first mover of big data and business intelligence 3.0 within our industry, and we have unique IPR and investment opportunities.
The next is Jibby from Reykjavik.
Jibby is an international internet office and live organizer for handling your everyday life activities at home and at work. Our base revenues are user and company subscriptions. We have previous entrepreneurial experience. There is growth in the industry sector. The business model is scalable, and alpha and beta testing for 1.5 years ensure short time to market.
The next is OnMe, also traveling from Oslo.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, especially the ladies. OnMe design and develop ingenious products for organizing jewelry and accessories at home. We are in business, we are already a success in Norway. We have a good market position. We now invite you to be a part of taking Omni to the next level.
The next is Sport Hero from Reykjavik.
Sport Hero gives children the opportunity to create a sport memory in a fun and easy way. It has been development of concept for over 4 years and allows our latest product now in May in Iceland. June Dama. We have our sales business owner, multiple revenue streams, our team, our trade, and our sponsors, our famous athletes, and our main sponsors are thanks both here in Iceland and now.
Next is Medon time from the very nice city of Mandal on the southwestern coast of Norway.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We provide medical safety for home care patients. We provide them with better health and we save society money. We are an experienced team with several experiences. We have a short lead time. We are in the first mover advantage and we can promise you an exciting exit within 36 months.
And last but not least is Wengon from Reykjavik.
Wengon enables people to preserve their legacy for generations to come. You should invest in us because we are going to lead the next boom in the insurance market.
Your Excellencies, Minister, dear friends, dear investors, I would very much like to invite you to give these 8 forefront companies a very, very, very big hand. Thank you.
Now, before presenting the opening speaker today on stage, I'd like to tell you a small truth corn here that we'll be putting into some of the introductions. So before we decided to pitch the keynotes on stage, we decided to do a small survey online and do a small Wikipedia search on each and every one, and find at least 1 or 2 interesting things to put up there. So before presenting speakers, you'll notice that in some cases I'll put in some of these truth corns here. The next speaker was born in Gunnastaðir. In his younger days, he was an avid sportsman, both track and field, and also volleyball player. He's been a parliament member since 1983. I present to you the Honorary Minister of Industries and Innovation opening speaker, Steingrímur Sigfússon. Welcome.
Good morning, everyone. Gentlemen, ladies, especially you ladies. It's nice to be with you here today on this bright but rather chilly morning. I'd like to thank Arion for hosting this and being the main sponsor, and of course the organizers of the whole event. This is a very good platform for investors and entrepreneurs to meet, and I think as in any other good matchmaking, we hope that happy marriages will thrive from this get-together. It is obviously very important that we lead together innovative people, those with bright ideas and those who have a bit of money to give life and birth to that as a fully fledged something. Well, as you all know, of course, we in Iceland have been struggling a bit for the past few years. We have more or less had to rebuild or reshape our economy, which was very hard hit in the financial collapse. Of course, things like that take a bit of time, but I assure you we are definitely back on track, and things are improving. Not the same track as before, because we don't intend to repeat the exercise from 2008. And many actually quite promising things are happening in the Icelandic economy today, not least due to the drive for innovation, research and high-tech industries. I think I can tell you a bit about it. In my previous job as Minister of Finance for 3 years, throughout the most difficult time from early 2009 to end 2012, I'm very well placed to compare the outlooks today from what they were at the beginning, and there are worlds between how things look in Iceland today and from what we saw at the beginning of 2009. Now, obviously, in a process like that, you also learn a lot. We have actually learned a lot, and we are still learning. Let's hope so, at least. And some of the main lessons, definitely we have learned, is that we must take very good care of our export industries. Iceland needs export and productive-driven growth for the coming years. Secondly, I think we have learned and we see that we need to focus on industries that can grow alongside with our traditional main export industries like fishing and heavy industry. Therefore, we have, of course, been focusing very heavily on, of course, Iceland's fastest growing industry, tourism, and everything that goes with it, but also the creative industries and high-tech and knowledge-based industries. And how do you do that? Well, I think we all agree you do it by supporting innovation, research and development work, and that's exactly what we have done. Now, Iceland is in need, like I suppose a lot of other countries, unfortunately, given the climate today, for growth. And then you focus on something that can grow quickly, where you are not bound by physical limitations or a long time lag until you see some outcome of that growth. We don't increase the numbers of fish in the sea. That's a bit complicated and not sort of out of our hands. It takes a long, long time to launch and build some of the heavy investment projects. But there are industries that can grow fast. Small and medium-sized businesses where you have no limitations of a physical or natural order. So therefore I think we have been trying to do the right things. Let's hope so at least. And I can mention only 2 or 3 examples, such as what we have done in terms of legislation to open up the possibility for innovative companies to get parts of their R&D refunded. Parliament passed this law almost 3 years ago by now, and it has been very interesting to see how that has developed. I think you all are familiar with the concept. Innovative enterprises that get the necessary certification from the body concerned are entitled to refunding of R&D costs, either through tax reduction or direct out payment if they are not as yet paying taxes. This started slowly, but it's gained momentum very handsomely, and now we estimate that something like 1.1 to 1.3 billion ISK will be refunded this year. And I have said, as soon as we think we have a little bit more money, as a state, we should extend this program. We should bring up the limits so as to further intensify this support up to the medium-sized companies. Secondly, one of the things we did, even through the most difficult time of budgetary deficit, that we sheltered the competitive funds for research and technical development. Tækniþróunarsjóður, rannsóknarsjóður is it called in Icelandic. And by now, instead of cutting them down, we have actually doubled the funding to these competitive funds. And there are not many numbers in the budget, I can promise you, that have got such a treatment during the last few years. And we believe this is very important. Thirdly, I'd like to mention the Green Investment Fund and actually quite extensive programs to facilitate innovation and growth and building up of green, sustainable solutions in our industries. The Green Investment Fund is opening up any day now with some handsome possibilities to strengthen and invest in good green innovative projects. These are just 3 examples out of many, sort of to try to assure you that we are very engaged in doing exactly this, looking for opportunities where growth can come diversify our economy, which is extremely important in every aspect, because the more diversified you are, the more unlikely you are to be fluctuating with external factors hitting the few and oversizedly important industries as Iceland used to build on. It used to be cod, then came aluminium, and you can say it's a bit better to have 2 pillars than 1, but I think hundreds are much, much better. So that's the future as I see it. Time is short, and actually time is money, so I will not dwell on this anymore. Iceland is definitely coming back. The outlook is steadily improving. The opportunities are boundless. And as this is the last, I believe the last cold spell of the late winter, the beautiful spring is ahead of us, just around the corner, warm with endless sun. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you, Steingrímur. Before presenting the next speaker, and in context with that, people tend to forget, and that's why we're here as well, that big companies are not grown in a day. At some point, any company that you see here in Iceland was at some point an idea. Somebody had trust in that idea with either financing. The entrepreneur was able to build those products, services, sell them. And some of the entrepreneurs in here are in similar shoes as these companies once were. And the next person that will coming on stage is very well aware of that. He has more than 16 years experience within the tech, media and telecoms market. He's launched a market PR agency, 2 record labels, 16 radio stations, a network of best-selling city guidebooks and websites, a youth promotions agency and academic contract publishing business, a B2B media planning and buying agency, a tech investment advisory business and accelerator academy, and accompanying accelerator fund. He has been involved in raising over £45 million of equity in debt corporate deals and has advised on £52 million of merger and acquisition transactions in 2012 alone. He's a pretty good guy as well. Managing partner at White Horse Capital Accelerator Academy, founder and angel investor with the topic Secrets of Successful Funding, Top Tips for Growth Companies. Thank you for coming, and I invite you to the stage, Mr. Ian Merricks. Welcome.
Hello. Well, we've heard from the Minister of the government's goals to help entrepreneurs, and we're going to hear more later on from the entrepreneurs here today. I wanted to talk a little bit about the piece in the middle, about the investment piece and how you get it. And so this is me. As I don't need to go through my background because Christian's just read my whole CV to you. So I've worked in big companies and I've worked in small companies. Along the way, I've raised money from grants, in loans, from angels, from VCs, and ultimately from private equity. I've worked with corporates, and so getting big companies to invest in little companies. So I've spent quite a lot of time figuring out how to get money for entrepreneurs. And now I want to share some of this with you. So my day job, what I do for a living, is I work at White Horse Capital. I'm a partner there, and we help raise money across the board. And a year ago, we launched a program specifically for startups, for high-growth startups. We're focused on TMT. The Minister referred to the requirement in Iceland to grow high-tech businesses and the creative industries. They all come within TMT in our view, so we're talking about similar things. The Accelerator Academy we launched as a result, and we've now supported 37 startups from the point that they're being pre-revenue to the point that they've raised their funding and they're growing and they're building their team and they're raising sales, and things are going well for those guys. These are the 37, or some of the 37 companies that we've helped in the last year as startups in London predominantly. So the next slide should actually build. So I was going to ask questions around where you think money should come from for a startup, and quite often the response is other people's money. angels, investors. Somebody will give us money. And actually, I think there's a different route there. So this slide shows kind of a hierarchy of the most important sources of capital as I see it. So number one is profitable customers. So getting out there and selling and proving that your business works with customers is the best way of growing your business. The advantage with profitable customers is it's money that you don't have to give back, like a loan. It's money that you don't have to multiply and give back 10 times as much, like equity. Beyond profitable customers are customers that are just helping you to build your business. So they might not be making lots of money, but you are beginning to prove the model. You are beginning to build traction with customers. You're beginning to be able to show evidence that there's demand for what you're selling. Number 3 in this list is suppliers. So it's having sensible conversations with the people who are supplying your business about when you pay them, about how much you have to pay them, and being careful around that. And that helps you to build cash reserves in your business from day one. The fourth section, this is where it starts getting serious. Friends and family. It's kind of where you have to go and ask the people you know. And there's a reason why friends and family, and you may often see this description of investors described as friends, families and fools. And it's the people who will back you. They back you as an entrepreneur, and they believe in you, and they think, yeah, I'm sure you'll figure something out about the business. It's okay, but you're a good guy, a good girl, and here's some money to help you hand in your notice, to help you get started, to help you move into an office, to help you do all the things that you need to do to get started. They're not backing you for an investment return, generally. They're backing you because you're interesting. You've got something special about you, and they like you. They would back you anyway. Then you get into maybe lending and some borrowing. I don't know a lot about the Icelandic lending situation, but in the UK that's pretty tough, particularly for startups getting money that they can raise. Banks still require lots of security. They want to know where their money's coming back beyond the company. So that can be quite hard, which then moves you into, once you've exhausted each of those, you've done as much selling as you possibly can, you've exhausted all of the people that you know who might have a little bit of money for you, and you've considered bank borrowing. Then is the role for equity. And I think quite often entrepreneurs just get it wrong and think we should just skip straight to equity. I've got a great idea, can I meet somebody who will give me lots of money to get this going? And that isn't really the way it works. Within equity, there are probably 4 areas. I say probably, there are 4 areas, and I've worked my way through each of these in the past. So angels, private investors, high net worth individuals who are looking for a return on their money. And they may want to be actively involved in your business and helping out. So they might come from a relevant industry. They might be aware of the market that you're addressing. Or they could be passive investors. They might be people who aren't familiar with the sector, but they've made some money elsewhere and they're quite interested to reinvest it. Corporates would include big companies. Big companies struggle often with innovation. They've become so big, they're not thinking of brilliant ideas all the time. Whereas startups thinking of brilliant ideas all the time, but don't have much money, don't have much in the way of distribution, they don't have many customers to go out and talk to. Whereas a big corporate has all of those things, but is missing the innovation. So it's sometimes an unusual route, but it might be one worth considering if that fits for your business, is engaging with corporate development teams in big companies. Venture capital is for later stage equity investors, and this is venture capital is done as a job. It's somebody's job to invest somebody else's money, and because of that, they're looking to take as much risk out of the business as possible, and they're looking for big returns. And a lot of that is often by internationally scaling the business. Interestingly, I came for I had some of the rehearsals for the company, the 8 companies pitching, and most of them have got international in their sights. And maybe it's because they're coming from a small market with Iceland, but it was very encouraging to hear about the companies who have already got relations in Denmark or are planning to open an office in the US. And it's really, really positive. And that's something that venture capital could possibly help with. And finally is private equity, which is a little bit further down the line, and that tends to follow venture capital. So with all of these different sources of capital, where do you start? Which is right for you? And so there's a big bit of work required for the entrepreneurs to really think about what type of equity they need. Do they need their uncle to write them a check so that they can stop doing their day job and just concentrate on their startup? Do they need a VC to get involved and really focus them on when they're going to sell this business and who they're going to sell it to? And the way to determine that is to do research. And increasingly, all types of investors are profiled online. You can find out what VCs invest in by their investment criteria on their website. You can find out about angels through LinkedIn or AngelList. You can find out about corporates by going to conferences and talking with them. So seeking advice about who to talk to at the right time is very important. Otherwise, you'll waste a lot of time trying to build your company by talking to the wrong investors. Is equity even right for you? There's 4 Ds, the things that you need to think about as an entrepreneur. One is distraction. It takes a lot of time raising money. It's not easy. It isn't something that people say, I've got an idea, can I have some money? And somebody writes them a check. There's a courtship process of getting to know each other, and there's time spent finding that investor in the first place. And after all of that, there's a risk it might fall over. The deal might not happen for other reasons. The investor you're talking to decides to put his money somewhere else. The fund invests in a similar business or is conflicted. So distraction, be careful about that. Dilution, and a lot of early stage entrepreneurs don't like to give away any equity. They want to hold on to their 100%. And so the thinking there is about you're building a much bigger business. You'll own a smaller piece of it, but it will be a much bigger business. Because of dilution, because investors own a piece of your company now, they'll want some degree of comfort. They'll want to know how the business is run. They'll want to know that if things start going wrong, that if they have to put their money in their pocket again and pay for more development in the company or more time, that there's some upside for them. So there's degrees of investor protection in a shareholder agreement that you need to think about. This may be new to you if you haven't raised money before. And control. Control changes even if a shareholder only buys 1%. They don't need to buy 51%. They could just have a very small piece, and they've got a big voice in your company now about what you can do. Discipline is about making sure things run well. So when you run a startup, you can run it how you like initially. You might run it from a bedroom. You might run it doing 10 different things at once, and that's okay because you're the entrepreneur. You're the startup person driving that forward. Over time, as you take on investment, that changes as you have to become more professional in the way you run the company. And finally, delusion. And often I see situations where entrepreneurs say, it's okay because we don't need to worry about that. We're getting on these investors and they're going to help us with these. These investors are going to help us with sales. These investors are going to help us with finance. And it might be the case that they can help out a little bit, but generally investors don't replace the management team. They're not there to come and work in your company. They're working on your company. So this is just a quick slide of different stages, different life stages of businesses as they grow and where the right sort of money can come from. So initially, proof of concept, that's where it's an idea. We talked about this. It's at the seed stage. It's very early. It's the founders. It's their savings. It's maxing out their credit cards. It's using their friends and family. Moving forward, you might be able to access accelerator programs. In Iceland here, we have CLAC. And CLAC Innovate now, as it now is. And beyond accelerators, you start working with angels and networks, seed funds, and as the business matures, then into working with VCs, and then growth VCs and private equity. Corporate ventures can go all the way along, and at some point you might be able to list the company. I think we're struggling to list companies in London, so it's going to take a little while for that market to come back. But that's a snapshot of different types of investment by different life stages. They look for different things. I think for this audience, I've focused on kind of seed and Series A, so early investment. It sounds like, I imagine some of you guys are still building your companies from the ground, and others, maybe the 8 that are pitching today, are looking for further money to help grow internationally, having developed some sales here. So angels will invest very early. Private investors like to invest early. They generally like to focus on growth. I quite often see proposals where people say, can you give us some money so that we can repay the company loan to me? No, that's not good. Can you give me some money so that we can pay ourselves more money? No, that's not good. So you have to really think around what it wants. Investors want to see growth. They want their money going into driving sales, marketing, product development, things that are creating value in the company. Angels invest their own money and often tax breaks inform that. So they maybe get a discount from the tax, from the government, and that helps them make their decisions. And often they'll want to be involved and use their experience. VCs, completely different. They're later stage. They still want to finance growth. They still don't want to put money in to help you pay yourself more or repay your loans. No one wants to do that. That never happens. But most importantly, they invest OPM, other people's money. It's not their money. They have to be able to prove that they've made a sensible decision to choose to invest in your business. And so for that, you have to be very, very confident that you can achieve your goals, which is why they tend to invest later, because early on, you don't know. You think maybe there's a market there, we think we're doing something good, we're hearing good things, but you haven't proved it yet. And VCs like to invest when you have proved it. So this side of the screen is what I see in every pitch. Our business is going to go from here to here. And the other side of the screen is kind of more what happens in reality. And even then, that's on a good day. I'll ignore the ones that don't go there, because there's none of those here. You guys are the growth company. So. And then, last couple of slides, just in terms of some trends that I've seen in this space. So tech, media, creative industries, investment. So more of a focus on what it is you can create. So moving away from just backing an idea. A big focus on intellectual property, IP protection. So what is it that the company owns? Have you written some interesting code? Can it be protected? Is there some algorithms in there? How are they protected and defensible within the company? And investors like that. That gives them a degree of comfort that they're buying something. Recurring contractual income. So subscription revenue is a positive. SaaS revenue. These are things that investors like because they know whatever happens, there's some money coming in. Movement away from purely ad-funded models. I spent the first 10 years of my career selling advertising in a range of these businesses I was creating, and that was very popular then. It isn't so much now, and advertising is often seen as an add-on. Flexible cost base. If you say, before we do anything, it's going to cost us this much every month, that's quite scary. If you can say it's going to cost us this much, and we're able to vary our costs depending on how well we perform, investors are keen on that. As we said, investors tend to move further down the life cycle, so they're moving further away from risk, which means it's up to you as the entrepreneurs to prove there's little risk in your business, and you've done a lot of the hard work. And often, investors will want to bring up your customers and reference that your customers are happy and that they're prepared to buy more from you in the future. So how can you do it better? In the last minute, I will try and summarise the 17 years of how to raise money more efficiently. So one of the key goals is being well networked, is knowing people. And whether those people are angels or VCs or corporates or other people that can introduce you, you can go out and meet these guys. Attending events like today is good networking opportunities, and it's really, really important as you build your board, as you build your team, as you build your investor contact base. Having a clear idea of the market that you're serving and making sure it's the right market with the right margins, because investors see lots of business proposals. I see maybe 10, 15 a week, every single week. So because of that, you get a good idea of what companies and different markets can do, and that's important. USP, what's unique about your business? And we go to a second level. We say what's unique about your business today, but what will still be unique about your business tomorrow? When the competition, of course, up, how will you continue to innovate? And being careful about how much cash you need, how much cash you're burning, and making sure you're really focused on understanding what it is an investor's looking for, being sensible about valuation. I see many startups whose valuation is very, very high, and it's very difficult for an investor to get comfortable with that when it's just an idea. And having an idea about when the company is going to exit. And often as an entrepreneur, you don't like to think of that. That's in the future. You're building your business. But from an investor, that's when they get their money back. So you have to give some thought to that. And then how do you, once you've got the investment, how do you make that succeed? Well, having good people around you, surrounding yourself with that good network, making sure you hit your investment numbers. So you're hitting your sales, you're managing the business's growth. You've got some careful contingency, so if things aren't going quite right, you're reacting to that. You've got a plan. You continue to move like a startup. You don't slow down and start thinking, it's fine, we've got our money now. We don't need to worry so much. You still need to be hungry. And maintaining a good relationship with your investors over time. And finally, staying aware of kind of the market trends as you're building the business, so not getting too focused on what it is you're doing. And there are often things that people get wrong about the business, so I'm kind of out of time. I'll be around all day to talk more if you need to. But people will tend to mix up they'll just be thinking about, I need some money to build my business, and they're not thinking about what the investor wants to get from that. And it can take a little bit of time to get a deal done. That's it. So thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me here, and thank you.
Thank you for that. Now we'll do a small Q&A here with the next speaker. Just to give you a small background on that speaker, Steinar contacted us and he asked, can't you find a super successful Icelander that's been living in Norway for some time? So we started to check our books, and we had a few options, and one of them came up and worked out quite well for us. The background was very interesting when going on Google and reading through the history books on what this person has achieved. But in 1995, he founded a company called Opera Software along with his colleague Geir Ivarsson. He was the CEO of the company from 1995 to 2010, and during that time as CEO, the company Opera grew to have more than 100 million monthly active users and became the world leader in the field of mobile and device browsers. There's a particular story that's interesting to talk about, and that happened on Thursday, April 21st, 2005. The speaker proclaimed that if the download numbers of the browser's new version of Opera 8 reached 1 million within 4 days, he would swim across the Atlantic Ocean from Norway to the United States. The million was reached, and Opera Software announced that they would stand by their word, and on April 25th and 26th, the official Opera site described the non-serious Atlantic swim attempt and its quick and comical failure. But I'd like to invite to the stage now for a short Q&A, Mr. Jon von Tetzchner. Welcome.
Kind of strange speaking English here. Ik get al Islands kollega and we're doing English.
No problem. Okay, I'll take the other mic. Okay.
All right.
So what we did, Jon, just to tell you, when people knew that you were coming here on stage to talk with us, we tweeted about it and talked about it on Facebook and media. So we got a few emails and questions up there. So I'll take a few of those, but also in the end we'll open up questions from the audience here if people have some interest. So maybe the first question, if you were a young entrepreneur starting out today, what space would you choose and why?
I mean, for me it's fairly simple. I would select the internet and the web, and I mean, it's the thing that I know, so that would be an obvious one for me. But it's also the question of there is so much things that are going to be happening in the future there. We've just started. It's easy to forget that we started on the web only 20 years ago. And a lot has happened in a fairly short time. But with the web, you can actually get started with a fairly small amount of money. You can test your ideas out, and you can actually make a great return.
And would you say it's as easy today as it was 20 years back, or do you think it's changed?
It's different, but the reality is this is a fast-moving market, and the good thing about a fast-moving market is that you can come up with new ideas all the time. Also, if you look at it, and I think there's a tendency among people to look at developed markets, looking at the United States, for example. But the reality, that's a fairly tough market to go. What about going to other markets where things have not developed as fast, where you can actually even reuse ideas, because they have not been deployed yet? So the idea of looking at other parts of the world, I mean, only 1 billion of the 7 billion people in the world live in the Western world. Why would you have to choose there? So I think understanding that there is a different part of the world and looking at it and seeing the opportunities there, it's interesting.
One question from online came of the interest in hearing how you would compare the startup community, for example, in Norway to Iceland, and possibility of Silicon Valley, since you've traveled quite a lot. Can you talk a little bit about that comparison, if you feel there's a big difference there, and if there's certain strengths that we might be missing here and could improve on?
I mean, to me, it's difficult. In some ways, I haven't been part of the startup communities. I mean, I've been building one company for a very long time. It's pretty boring from that perspective. I can only list one company on my CV. But, I mean, obviously, I spent talking to people. I see definitely similarities between here and Norway. I think there's a difference that you can actually do probably a lot more here with less funds, which is interesting. My impression in the US, you very quickly get into very big funds, and there is a very quick curve up and down. I mean, as an example for me, started with Opera in 95, there was this little company called Netscape. Typical startup funded. They went like a rocket, up and down. By the time that we had our first round of funding, they were gone.
I noticed that Ian was smiling when he talked about the one company on the CV. No. It's the next question fits that criteria, because when you are thinking of investments yourself, what are the key elements that you look for when looking at entrepreneurs?
Based on Ian's talk, I'm probably friends, fools, and family. I actually, when someone talks about exit, that's a turn-off. That means to me that you're thinking about actually just building something and selling it. I like building things for the future. So for me, if you want to sell it to me, you have to have a view that you're actually building something for the future. You want to make a difference. To me, it's all about, is this going to matter? I mean, is the thing that you want to build going to matter to anyone, or is it just going to matter to some investors? You take the money, you go out, or is it something that's meaningful? For me, it has to be meaningful or at least fun. So I'm definitely in the friends, fools, and family camp, and proud to be there.
And the big question that probably all the entrepreneurs are thinking about right now is then, how do they get your attention to do that pitch, to get your excitement and motivate you to do that investment?
I mean, I talked about the reality, and this is important. I mean, when you guys are contacting me, and I'm getting quite a lot of contacts, and these may be brilliant projects, but if I don't understand them, and if I don't get excited by them, and they may still be great, it's just I'm particular to my interest, and my interests are things like the web and making a difference, and there's not really that many projects that are like that. So I'm not investing in that many projects, but I'm investing in a few, and I'm having fun with it, and hopefully making a difference to the few companies that I do invest in.
Maybe you've talked a little bit about this so far, but there's a small question here on, that with Dvorzak Invest, that seem to be focusing on the B2C and consumer market. What do you consider to be the core qualities of such startups, rather than maybe the typical B2B? Is that something that you have just?
I mean, what is important to you? I mean, who are you making your products for? If the idea is to sell them to, and I've done both. I mean, at my company, I was selling to telcos and kind of mobile companies and television companies and game console companies. That actually was a lot of fun. Selling to Nintendo was a lot of fun. Fun company. But the most giving for me was end users being happy about what you do. And I think there's something special there. So it's also about being product focused. You are focused on your product because it actually means something to some people. So you're building products that are great for individuals, and you'd like to make the great, fantastic products that people want to use. And you have the direct relationship with the users. They tell you when you're right and when you're wrong. It's something also where I feel I actually can contribute. I know something about how to work in that kind of community. To me, selling to big companies is not so much fun. I've done that, probably done reasonably well selling to some big companies, but it's more fun the other way. I had the big hairy goal of getting 100 million users. I got there. Then we set the next goal of 500 million users. We are kind of on our way there with 300 million users now. That's nice. And when you know that you're getting there, not through advertisement, I hate advertisement, you're getting there through word of mouth. You've made such a great product that you'll have people walking around telling their friends that they should download your software or use your service because it's so much better than something someone else is making. That's a great feeling. So in a way, if someone is doing that, that's something that makes me feel good.
And that maybe leads to the next question. One of the problems that we seem to face here in Iceland and in many places as well all over the world is that a lot of startups are starting up. They get the initial funding, they build those products, and they believe the products are great, and they are able to build that customer base of some value, maybe a couple of thousand, dozens of thousands. But the big marketing and sales, scaling that up, getting those 100 million users to actually use the product. What could startups that are going for the end consumer market, business to customer, do to get more users to use the product more than just building the right product? How do they actually get the users on board? Any tactics or?
A lot of this is about not doing what you read in the books. Well, actually, you read in some books. I mean, I'm sure you've read some of the. I mean, you can read something like the Google Way or something like that. How do you get people to use your product? So you build a great product. If your product is great, then there is a question of, okay, how can you get people to try it? And it's to me, if you're thinking that you need to go the ad route, then it's going to be hard, because if it's ads that are needed, there are people with more money than you. I mean, that's unless you are Google or Apple or Microsoft or something like that, there will be people with more money than you. So you have to find another way. But it is the reality. Companies like Google and I mean, you look at Apple, they're perfect at this. I mean, how many of you are in the church of Apple? Don't be shy. Raise your hand. There's a lot of people. And the reality, I mean, if I were to say something bad about Apple in here, I might not get out alive. And there is something there. You build an affinity, and you do that through a number of multiple I mean, Apple is perfect in some ways. Maybe not the same way as maybe I would do it, but there is something, getting people to like your communicating with users. Just the old thing, giving great and kind of working with end users, giving them a great feedback. I mean, if someone sends you, I have this rule, if someone is loud, so let's say someone is bashing your product. I've had people send me very angry mails when there was just Geir and me, and you would get an angry mail. And I remember, I mean, with one of those, I got a really, really angry mail, and I sent a reply. And the guy said, whoa, I got a reply. Didn't think I would get that one. If someone had sent that mail to me, I would have thrown it away. So I answered his problem, and I actually gave him help, and suddenly I had a champion. And he was a loud champion as well. So turning people around that kind of are loud. Going in, if people are bashing your product, it's great to go out there and talk to them and find out why they're bashing your product. Maybe they're right. Maybe you should do something about your product. If not, if there's a misunderstanding, rectify it. Using the internet for what it's worth is very worthwhile.
I'd like to give the option out here for the audience if there are any questions here that you'd like to ask Jon. So if there's anybody here in the room that has something on their mind now. Anybody? Over there, yeah?
So, yeah, I love the interest in sort of passionate creators. And one place where you find them is sort of in the universities in engineering science. And I'm in computer science. There's a lot of passionate students creating new inventions. Sometimes you feel like that passion gets sort of killed when they are then sort of pushed out of there to make companies and get started selling. There's something that happens in a transition from just the creative environment, producing new inventions, and then, okay, now you have to find the market and sell this thing. How can we help? How can you take what you are talking about into that and create an environment for universities to help those people to get those things out into the market and start the engine on the outside?
Well, in some ways, I think what Ian was saying is very right. The further you can get on your own, the better. And I think, I mean, this is an advice that I've seen from a lot of people in the investment community. Try to get as far as you can on your own. It's a lot easier. If you have, and don't change. I mean, don't go. I mean, you have to focus on the. If you're going to be successful, in my humble opinion, you have to have a focus on your products, and you have to keep your focus there. And if it goes into financing, you may have a great financial exit, but you're not going to build a great company. And I think, in a way, if you want to build a great company, you have to focus on the product. You have to maintain that, and there's a lot of people that will tell you otherwise. But but the reality, in my humble opinion, you have to really believe in what you're doing, and you have to try to do it on a shoestring, if you can, because that allows you to avoid investors as long as possible. And the longer you can avoid to get investors in, the better it is for you. I think that, I mean, which means having a day job and working on the side, which means working from your garage, which means having extremely low salaries in the beginning and just roughing it until you're at a point where the investors want to come to you and not the other way around. I mean, in my case, it took 5 years before the investors thought it was worthwhile to look at it.
Any other questions in the room? Keep person. Yeah.
This emphasis on product, focus on the product, as well as reminding us that things take time, because there's a lot of talk about, oh, you know, if you don't do it in 3 years, it's worthless, or something like that.
I mean, most companies don't live 5 years, so I mean, it's better to look at the future. And I mean, to me, it's all about the product and products, end users, employees. Hi, Philip. I love people that have worked with me before, like Philip. Philip was great. I don't know if there's one more person still working at Opera here in Iceland, but I mean, I've had the pleasure of working with all these great people, and people like Philip and anyone else that I work, they're great. I feel privileged.
Maybe the final closing question here. There's a lot of things happening in the entrepreneurial community here, from the early stages up until the small investments, up until the VC investments, and so forth. Is there any final closure comments on the things that you think that service providers can provide for the community that actually work for the entrepreneurs in building more and better businesses in the country?
I think what you're doing is great. I mean, giving people advice on how to get things done. And I think in a way also making people understand it's possible to do things. It is really possible to do things. Do not let people tell you that it's not possible. I think when I get the questions on kind of what is the most important thing about you, I'm stubborn. Where does that come from? Here. Icelandic people are stubborn. And I think that stubbornness is something that you need. And I think there's a lot of it. There's, by the way, a lot of it in Norway as well. It's the same people, by the way. But this stubbornness, never giving up, thinking that you're able to do things, thinking that you're special and you're actually able to do things. And by the way, if sometimes people tell you, and they're right, but recognize that one. But in general, believe in yourself. Don't take too much risks, again, if you can avoid it. But believe in yourself and go out there and do things. And you guys should be cheering them on. And I hope that I can do a little bit of that as well.
So, Jon Tetzchner, thank you so much. The next presenter on stage is the founder, entrepreneur of the house, Entrepreneurs House in Oslo. He's a great connector in Norway in the innovation system there, chairman of Norwegian Entrepreneurial Association, a business angel, serial entrepreneur. He is the main guy in Oslo, Norway. I present to you Mr. Odd Mo. Welcome.
Thank you, Steinar. Thank you for having me here in Iceland. You know, I haven't been here for a couple of years. I think this is it's fantastic to be back, and I feel the vibration in Iceland. I think things are going well. Anyhow, it's going in the right direction, no doubt about that. I'm going to talk about the entrepreneur's house. Before I did this house in Oslo, I was traveling all over the world with Steinar. Helped him to build up Seed Forum. That was an interesting journey, but too much traveling. So I found out I want to do a project in Oslo, so I can stay in Oslo for a while. So I did this Greenland, the entrepreneur's house. It's a beautiful building in Oslo, a historic building, right behind the castle. It's 1,360 square meters. Craziness, we say 1,306 meters of pure entrepreneurship spirit. We have 4 floors. I will come back on to that. And we also have a beautiful garden. And we have a lot of energy. So the philosophy behind the house is that we're going to provide entrepreneurs what they need to succeed. It's going to be a kind of turnkey solution, one-stop shop for entrepreneurs in Norway, but also we're going to attract entrepreneurs outside Norway as we go ahead. It's a very interesting market to be in. I will tell you more about that. We have a proven business model already. We started in August, or 1st of September was the first official day, so it's a half year ago. We're doing well. We have good partners. We are heading to be cash positive this year. It's very good. And we're also planning to set up a seed fund at the house during next year. And so we are, in a way, developing the concept. We have divided this into 3 floors. The first floor, we have a co-working space where wannabe entrepreneurs can come and work and meet other entrepreneurs. It means that they don't need to sit at home talking to the wall. They can meet other entrepreneurs that are in the same situation. That's very interesting. It generates a lot of energy. On the second floor, we have mentors and experts, really, really good people that can help the entrepreneurs. And in the third floor, we have an accelerator which we are developing right now. So we have got some financing to set up a program, and it looks very good. And on the loft, we have a sales team of 7 people that can sell products and services on behalf of the entrepreneurs on the house. And in the basement, we have a very cool entrepreneurs club, or Gründerklubben, where we actually can have parties and product launch and stuff like that. The Norwegian market is very exciting. It's going well. We have a kind of all-time high regarding new companies incorporated. The economy is good. There's a lot of interest in the entrepreneurial community in Norway to be part of co-working spaces and places like the Entrepreneur's House. And there are also a lot of seed funding or seed slash venture funding coming up now in Norway. And they need good projects to invest in. This is me. As I said, I've been developing Seed Forum with Steinar. Before that, I did something called Global Direct, which we sold to American investors, quite successful. Also be involved in bioenergy and renewables earlier. Steve Cunningham, he took Apple to Czech Republic and Russia, and has been working internationally. He's from San Francisco, so we like this international environment at the house. This is the board of directors. For those who are from Norway, I suppose you know these guys, like Bjørn Tari Haugen is the chairman of, or the CEO of Movation. Bjørn Semenseth is also very successful IT entrepreneur in Norway, and Alan Sand is an investor and also a part of the house. This is a very interesting slide if you want to know more about what's happening in Norway. On the left-hand side, you will see that we have some values like solid, breaking new ground, drive, smart choice, the good helper, stimulating. That's the Entrepreneur's House core values. And you will see that there are other players listed up here, like Regus, Forskningsparken, Campus Kjeller, House of Business, and MASH. MASH is a very, very interesting environment in Oslo, which I suppose support very hard. They're very young people running around in shorts in the middle of winter, having a good time, drinking beer, kind of young and dynamic environment. And for sure, they are very stimulating, as you see on the bottom here. But we are scoring quite good already, based on that we have quite a short history. What we do is that, for sure, we rent out spaces. We have a very cheap model. It means that you can come in there for only pay 1,850 Norwegian kroner. There should be around 37,000 Icelandic kroner per month. We also have some premium levels as well. On top of that, in the accelerator, we have a lot of events. We have 7 projects in the development. We are doing 1 project now with NAV, setting up a special education program for them, and also consulting. And funding and equity is also something we are going into right now. We have 2 projects where we actually go in and help them raise money, and also take equity in the company. This is our main partners. You see that Seed Forum is one of them. Innovation Norway for sure, Venture Lab. Norwegian Business Angel Network is a new network that we are setting up. But we can cover most of the needs that an entrepreneurs have in the second floor, but also some external partners. And we try to cover the whole stage, all the different stages that the company goes through. These are the consultants and the service providers that we have on the second floor. I would highlight, for instance, the French-Norwegian Chamber of Commerce, which is on the house. We have also Garrison Group, which is an international player. They have done marketing strategies for IKEA, Carlsberg, and so on. So we are proud that we also have international service providers at the house. And this has been the development until January. We have been growing further after that. So now we are 64 people at the house, and we are sold out on the second floor. We are sold out on the loft. We have more space in the co-working space. I think there are 36 members there now. So if there are Icelandic companies that want to go and do business in Norway, you are welcome. I will give you a special deal, you know. And hopefully we can get a special deal here as well, because I want to go here more. So it's going in the right direction. This is one of the companies that we have on the house. This is Green Ideas, which is developed a waste management system. So this is one of the companies we are helping now, raising funds as well. We are starting right now that process. They are going to Turkey, for instance. This has been developed for the Turkish market. They have a very good IPR plan to protect that. And maybe this product can also have a future here in Iceland. I don't know. You have to think about it. Give me ideas if you have any on this side of the business. This is a little bit about how we're going to do it and how we plan to go ahead. You see that this is the hockey stick that you have seen before. We are a startup as well. Here we have 1 new house every year in our plan, and we're going to do more consulting as we go ahead. That's our idea. And we have a concrete plan now to take this house to Africa. But there are also a lot of other cities that have been in contact with us, because we have a wide international network, have spread the idea already. So we are now defining a strategy, where to go in the next phase. Yeah, this is some of the opportunities we are looking into now. The seed fund is for sure one interesting thing. We are also setting up Startup Cup now in Norway. We are heavily involved in the Global Entrepreneurship Week. And we're going to raise some more money for the development of the house as we go ahead. So, Jon, you said that exits are boring and dull. I agree with you. We do this because we love it. But in an investor presentation, you should always have this slide. And we think it's possible to get in an industrial player, or as we develop this concept. Right now, we are doing what we call seed round 2 at the coffee machine. And this is a small stock issue we are doing now, only to get on board some of the members who want to invest, but also some of the good entrepreneurs with the entrepreneurial heart in Norway. So it's a very small stock issue. It's only 250,000 Norwegian kroner. There should be around 4 million Icelandic kroners. I pitched it for the first time at the coffee machine yesterday, and I got 100,000 plus 50,000 committed today before I went to this stage. So, but we have approximately 100,000 Norwegian kroners, which we want to raise from a very good helper that also want to be a part of developing the house further. So I see that I'm now 3 seconds Oh, that is the timeout. Fantastic. Just on time. I will be here during the day. I will be here in the lunch break. If you want more information about the Entrepreneur's House or Green Ideas or other stuff we are doing, I will be pleased to answer your questions. And hope we can do business between Iceland and Norway, and that the Entrepreneur House can be a kind of house where Icelandic people fly in to do business. Okay? Thank you.
And now, the only thing standing between you and the teams presenting is the next speaker on stage, which is always a good thing. Next speaker on stage is coming in here from Greenland. He is part of the Greenland venture capital and private equity business. He's done pitch training with myself and Steinar yesterday with the Seed Forum teams. He's eager to boost the Greenland startup community. CEO of Greenland Holding, the innovation system in Greenland. I present to you Karsten. Welcome.
Hello, Seed Forum 2013 here in Reykjavik. My name is Karsten Høj, and as you can see, I am not looking like the typical man from Greenland. I am approximately 2 meters, not this high. So, first of all, I would like to thank for the opportunity to make this short presentation concerning the innovation system in Greenland and our company, Greenland Holdings, part in this. I'm also glad to be a part of Seed Forum 2013, which is very inspirational for us. The program of this presentation in highlights, that's the innovation system in Greenland and our challenges. We are also in a Greenland context concerning venture capital, also us as Greenland Holding in some kind of seed stage. After that, I will tell you a little about Greenland Holding and the part of the innovation system that we have, and that we do it through our subsidiaries, that is Greenland Venture and Greenland Business. The innovation system in Greenland is relatively new. The setup that we see today is established on the ground that there has been an investigation concerning what is needed in Greenland, and that was back in 2009. At the moment, if we see where the structure of the innovation system is placed, approximately all innovation systems in Greenland are in public hands. It's in the municipalities, which there's in the 4 regions. We have an innovation house in the Sisimiut, and we have some government promoting instrument and subsidized. We have venture capital, business advisory, and advisory concerning international program. The challenges concerning the innovation in Greenland, here's there's a lot more, unfortunately, but here's the most important. It's a lack of education among the Greenlandic people. The countries that we are comparing ourselves with, the Nordic countries and also Iceland, we can see that we are way behind in the education, and also that we have some challenges in the education system to make that kind of growth. And also there is a lack of coordination between the different systems, the municipalities, the government and so on, but that's what we are trying to do something about today. And that is through mapping and how the system works and how we can ensure that there's that kind of coordination between. But also that the development of Greenland is focused on the very basic things concerning infrastructure and housing. So because of that, there is a lack of focus on innovation from especially the government. As a note, I can tell you that the government of Greenland has an approximately 80% influence on the total growth in Greenland. And we have not a tradition in Greenland concerning private investment. This is a thing that I also want to try to do something about, and that's also why I'm here, to get some inspiration how you can syndicate the connection between private investors and entrepreneur and new good projects. Another key things that we don't see much in Greenland, it's people are not saving so much. Well, when they get the money, they're using it and not think about the future. If we see that in the context of Greenland Holding and our part in the innovation system and our contribution to that, it's the history behind Greenland Holding is that Greenland Holding, which I've been the CEO of since 2007, we bought Greenland Venture back in 2010. We bought it from the government of Greenland because the government of Greenland could see that there was some challenges concerning the Greenland Venture, which at that time was 100% owned directly by the government, that they want to make sure that the future coming projects was based on a more commercial evaluation when we come in. And here's the organization of Greenland Holding. Greenland Holding is owned by the government of Greenland, Nærkersøsøen. And under Greenland Holding, we have these two subsidiaries, which we own 100%, and that's Greenland Venture and Greenland Business. We also have a part in Greenland Contractors, where we are delivering services to the U.S. Air Force in Thule Air Base. Under Greenland Venture, we of course have our project companies, and at the moment we have 18 companies that we are part of. If we look at the purpose for Greenland Venture and Greenland Business, Greenland Venture's primary purpose is, of course, to provide venture capital. Greenland Business is the company where we are delivering business counseling, and we are also administrating of public business promoting instruments. If we look at Greenland Venture, Greenland Venture is established to support and promote business development in Greenland on market terms. This is the new purposes that we have implanted in 2011 to ensure that our new strategy and focus will be as commercial as possible. Our mission is to strengthen our project companies' growth opportunities, and we want, of course, to contribute to the development in the multi-strength, growth-oriented and strong business communities. And our investment strategy primarily is looking at SMEs. Which instruments do we use in Greenland Venture? Well, we have three main products in Greenland Venture. The first is, of course, growth capital products, where we use investments directly in the firms. We also provide with growth sureties, and our latest new product is growth loan. Growth loan is a product that is provided to firms that need it in an expanding to buy new assets, but has a lack of security. So we go in and help them together with the bank. The bank in Greenland are, sorry, need some water, it's very dry in Reykjavik. And very cold. Last Sunday it was plus 14 in Nuuk in Greenland. So if you need warmth, come to Greenland. Well, growth loan is a new product, as I told you, and we have great expectation both to ensure further business development in Greenland, but also to help our own cash flow, of course. What is the term? When investors come to us, we have some overall terms that we are looking at before we are looking at the project in details. First of all, it's a commercial-based criteria, and it have to have an innovative character, and it must not be anti-competitive. It's a very important thing for us that it is not competitive concerning other businesses, because we are providing venture capital that is funded from the government, and we don't want to go into a private market which is functioning and destroying it. Every private market that is functioning good have to develop it on its own term, and it's also the most healthy way to establish more growth in Greenland. And of course, we are also looking at first movers. The other company, Greenland Business, was established last year, and it was established because we could see there was some difficulties and some challenges concerning the innovation system in Greenland. So Greenland Business is primarily the goal is, of course, to make sure that we can develop it to a sound and good environment for the entrepreneurs. And I can see my time is going up here. The purpose of Greenland Business is based on a service contract with the government of Greenland. We have to be a national business council, promote and develop all land-based businesses. We have to be the interconnected coordinated unit, which was very important concerning the mapping and developing and coordinating in a good new development in the innovation system in Greenland. And we also provide advice and guidance concerning international programs, and some of them you know, it's NORA and NPP, NATA, and also the program under EC. Our investment net value in 2012 was approximately 90 million. That's 12.2 million euros. That's not much in your firm, but in Greenland, it's a lot of money. And we expect to invest approximately 18 million here, or that's what we have in budget. That's 2.4 million euros. And from Greenland Business, we want to provide services for approximately 0.4 million euro. We are also very interesting to, to get foreign investors to Greenland, and we want to ensure that they get the best opportunities to get the knowledge concerning Greenland and Greenlanded market. So we also advise or co-invest in Greenland Business with foreign investors. So now I am over time, so thank you. And you are always welcome to contact us in Greenland, and I will also be available to the network events and look at our websites. Thank you for your attention.
Well, the only thing standing beside you in the small coffee break right now is me. I think it's appropriate to give all the great keynote speakers that came here from Greenland, from Norway, from UK, all over, a great hands of applause for coming over and talking with us. And I just want to say before we go for a small break that this is exactly what Seed Forum is about. This is exactly what we want to do here in Iceland. We want to bring out people from all over the world, tell us about the projects and things that they are doing. Take a good look at the things we're doing here in Iceland and wonder if there's something that can be improved. And that's exactly the same thing we hope to do with Clock Innovate as well. Looking over the projects, think really well about what are the things that we're doing well and what are the things that we could possibly do better. We'll have visionary meetings, talking with the community, talking with the startups here, the people that are surrounding us, the companies, universities, and figure out what are the best models for building a startup community here in Iceland. But now, it's forbidden to leave. In 10 minutes, the pitches from the startups will begin. We have some coffee outside for a small break now until the first startup starts their pitch. 10 minutes, no later, we start here back on stage, so coffee, and thank you for the first round. Thank you.